It's being recorded. All right, terrific. So just some bookkeeping tasks. So if you have questions, put it into the Q&A, and then periodically I'll jump in there and ask questions. Also, Ashley and Melissa will be answering those questions as well. And we'll give everyone else just a minute to hop on. Sometimes when it comes to Zoom, you go to get on Zoom and they say, well, it's time to update. So it takes a minute. So we'll just give everyone a breath there and give it a second, okay? And before we get started, I guess I want to ask the quick question. Typically, I go over independent, dependent variables and levels of measurement. Can you throw into the Q&A if you need that review or would like that review, or we just kind of move along with the tool and analyzing data? So if you would just take a second and type that into the Q&A, that would be awesome. Thank you. And then the powers that be will let me know if we should review that or not. Typically, if a few people want to see it, I'll take a second to do that. All right. People are still joining in. All right, so here, Q&A. Yes, yes. Yep, okay. And we'll get to, I'll try to get to mediators and moderators, no problem. Okay. I think a majority of people are saying, you know what, let's see it. So let's just get to it then, okay? So my name is Dr. Jim Lanny. I'm the CEO of Intellectus 360, which has our company has the Intellectus statistics tool that I'll show you. We have a qualitative tool called Intellectus Qualitative, and then we have courseware for both. And we have a lit review tool coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. And without further ado, let's just move into this. Okay. So, all right, so let's just get to it. So the agenda for the day is we'll cover those basics, IVs, DVs, levels of measurement, okay? We'll create an Intellectus account, and as I say, Ashley, Melissa, now Samantha can all help you get logged in. Show you how to set up data. And what I typically do is just go through a typical project from upload data to downloading results. So I can do that pretty quickly and then go a little bit slower, answer your own questions or share your project with me. And often that helps to exemplify what other people are also working on or struggling with. Okay, so first things first. So first things is that this data has levels of measurement, okay? And basically it comes in three varieties. One is nominal, so Republican, Democrat, Independent, male, female, okay? Okay, just names of things. And in fact, nominal is Latin for name. So it's just names of things, but they don't have any hierarchy per se. Ordinal has names, okay? Small, medium, large, but there is an order to it. So the mnemonic is ordinal and ordered. So it can have an 8-ounce Coca-Cola, 12-ounce Coca-Cola, 32-ounce Coca-Cola. So there's an order, but you'll notice that they're not equally spaced, so to speak, or different size ounces and beverages, or a horse race, first, second, third. Yes, they're named first, named second, named third. Yes, they are ordered 1, 2, 3, but the intervals in between it are not necessarily equal. So the first horse comes in first, second horse comes in by a nose, the third horse comes in, a minute later. So ordered, but not equal intervals. Scale captures all three of those. They have names, they have orders, and they have equal intervals in between them. So like temperature or, year. 1 year to 2 year has the same amount of days as 2 years to 3 years, as 22 years to 23 years, and so forth. So So scale kind of captures that. And by the way, the grainier you get, or scale's got the most information, ordinal less so, right? First, second, third, I don't know how much later that third horse came in, and nominal, the least amount of data. So in lots of situations, you want to have grainy data, um, okay? And then we can kind of go back and bucket if we had to into ordinal or nominal. So let me just hammer that home. So nominal fruit, banana, orange, apple. They're just names of things. There's no order to things and so forth. Okay, they're just names. Ordinal, activity level, sedentary, monetary moderately active, very active. Again, kind of ordered, but not necessarily. We don't know how many calories it burnt from here to here versus from moderate to very active. There may be very different levels of calories burned or something of that sort. And then scale, again, just the intervals are equal, all right, as in degrees, okay? All right. The other piece that's important is really identifying the names of these types of variables. So one is an independent variable, typically, independent variable, or a dependent variable, or a covariate, okay? Oftentimes, the researcher wants to manipulate the independent variable. And manipulate doesn't mean that you're doing something bad manipulating them. It just means that you're selecting, okay, what the differences are. So, and in this example, I said, are there differences in the amount of glucose, by banana, apple, or orange? Okay, so I'm looking at the independent variable. My research interest could be, hey, I compare about this. Concerned about the independent variable that, and I'm looking at glucose levels, and I'm selecting, fruit. Okay. Dependent variables typically are dependent upon the thing that we're being measured, or the person, or the participant, or the observation. So let me just make it a different example that I'm going to show here, which is if I want to look at, are there differences on the 5K runtime by gender? The researcher is saying, I'm interested in runtimes, not by weather outside or by age, but by gender. Okay, so I'm manipulating or interested in looking at runtimes by gender. The dependent variable, or the runtime, is dependent upon those runners, dependent upon those participants. So the dependent variable typically depends upon the observation of the participant. The independent variable is often, dictated by the researcher. And I think that run example is about right. Okay, so runtime would be dependent upon the runners. The independent variable is by, say, gender. Okay. Then we have this other business of covariate. And I'm not going to get too much into it, but what a covariate is that it's a variable that is related to the dependent variable. For example, you have all of these runners, okay, great, that have some run times. You have gender or sex, males and females, okay, great. But age is also, you determine that age is related to runtime. And you notice, oh boy, hey, you know what? All of the 5K runners, most of the females are kind of older, and most of the males are younger. And if you find differences on run times by gender, it might be more related to the age rather than the gender. Okay, so I want to neutralize the effect of age or neutralize the effect control for, okay, the age differences, and I would call age a covariate. So looking at a dependent variable, run times in a 5K, my independent variable in this example is gender, and I want to control for age, as I see that there might be an age-related relationship between age and runtime. So in kind of a nutshell, there's the IV-DV covariate. Also, as I'm thinking about this, Melissa, that, or Ashley, that, we have a little PowerPoint deck around this, and we'd be happy to share that PowerPoint deck around these kind of basics. The basics, but they're also really important. And they're important because our tool really takes into account whether it's an independent variable or dependent variable and so forth. Okay. All right. So I think now's the time to get logged in. So, and I think in the chat, I think Melissa or Ashley are putting in how to get logged in. And in the meantime, there's an answer by Malik. Can we call a covariate as a moderating variable as well? I would say not. Covariates are really things that are going to influence that dependent variable. A moderating variable also can influence that, but I think it's used in a different research question. The first research question is, are there differences on 5K runtimes by gender? And I want to control and neutralize the effect of the potential covariate of age. Moderating variables are a different research question and a different set of analyses. Well, I'm not positive about a different set of analyses, but certainly they're run, the way that I look at them, they're run with different analyses. And that research question is, there's a relationship between gender and run times, okay? But age strengthens or weakens that relationship, okay? It's a different kind of question, that moderating variable question, right? All right, so hopefully everyone's logged in. I go through this because I think that people get stuck with this, which is typical concerns are, and if you happen to have these concerns, you are not alone, that we've been hearing this for decades, which is, I don't know what test to conduct. I don't know how to navigate the tool to conduct it, and I don't know how to interpret the output. Intellective statistics helps capture or overcome some of those questions. All right, and then hopefully everyone is logged in, and then we'll load your data up with masterclass data. We can just jump into that. That's fine. So let's do this. So here is the tool. If anybody needs help getting logged in, please do put it into the Q&A, and one of our staff will help get you going with that. So it's a web-based tool. So let's talk about uploading data. So, and then we'll upload the masterclass so you can follow along. But if you're going to upload data, you just go to the upload data, okay? You can select the format that you want to upload your data in. Okay, so everyone get there. And then choose the file. And here I'll choose the Rosenberg, okay. And then select upload file. And for the moment, I'm not going to go to the data cleaning wizard. I'm just going to exit out of that. And then we can address these things later on, but we can change these later from nominal to ordinal or scale, and we can do that. Okay. So that's how you get your data in. All right. Okay. By the way, what we would want to do two quick things here. I'd want to get rid of these different rows of headers. Typically in Intellectus, we want the name of the variable and then the data underneath, but we don't need the full-on question or the levels, all right? So that would just be a process of editing data, selecting those two rows, okay? All right, and then deleting. So just right-clicking and remove rows. That's one step. And the other thing we often want to do is to turn these Likert type labels into numbers. And we can do that very quickly by recoding multiple, where I can select, we definitely need to select all. Okay, so I'm going to select the variables that I want to turn into numbers, okay? And I'll select my new levels of measurement because I want to turn those labels into numbers. So I want to turn those nominal into scale, and those are the items. And then I want to make sure that these are ordered correctly. So I'm just going to scoot that down. Here I have these things I need to collapse. Okay, so I want to merge my two disagrees. Oops. Okay. And then once I have them in the right order, and I might want to just put, a 4, 3, 2, 1. So I might want to change all of those labels to numbers. You may want to put those right back into the same variable, okay, and say submit. And then, so that's part of the data management, okay? Okay. Okay, we'll get to you, Josh. So the quick answer is yes, this is being recorded. So let's go to upload the for those that do not have a data set, let's go to the projects tab and then upload an example data set. And let's go to masterclass. Okay, so we're going to go here and select create a project with this data set. And here we have our masterclass data set, which is age and movie, which is nominal, fruit nominal, hour sleep, and GPAs pre and post. Okay. So I want to give everyone a moment to get that going. So I'll just do that again. So I went to projects. I went to choose an example data set. I went to the data set that I want to get to, which is masterclass, and selected. And then I want to go ahead and so masterclass data set is selected and create project. And that's how you get data in. So maybe we'll just give everyone a moment to see if you need help doing that. Okay. All right. So once you have data in, you can do simple recoding of data. And you saw me recode those Likert type items into numbers with the recode multiple. You can have a variable calculator by, sometimes you want to add different scores or average the score. So for example, I might want, what is a GPA average? Okay, so average GPA, from the beginning to end, maybe perhaps a mean composite, identify the variables of interest. So I'm creating a new variable called average GPA by averaging those two and then submit. And then you'll see it creates a new variable here. So that's an important function. And then really downloading data. Once you've created new variables, you're going to want to download that data. So you have an Excel file that you can save on your desktop that has your new variables. Okay. All right. Okie dokie. Other things that, and by the way, if you have a data set loaded up and you want to work with it, you can share it by going to, actually, maybe you can put in James at intellectus360.com and just share that project. So to share, you would, if you have your project loaded up, you can share it with me by clicking on the share button and then typing in my email address. Type it here, James at intellectus360.com. Okay, and click share. Okay. So that's something, and then just hit share. Okay. So good question, Lisa. Thank you. So we've talked about uploading data, which I did with the Rosenberg self-esteem scale. We example data sets. To enter data manually, we just go to enter data manually, and then I can just put in a variable name, age, okay, and then GPA, and then just start putting the data underneath there, 30, okay, and so forth. I can put the GPA. Okay. All right. And once you put in your variable names and data, then just hit save. I typically exit out of this, okay, for the moment. At the moment, they're both scale. That's fine. Again, you can always change these things later. Okay. And that's how you enter data manually. All right. So while we're doing this, if you do want to share your project, you can go to the share,
Jim,
type in my email address, and the ladies will put it in the chat or in the Q&A.
Jim,
Yes.
typically we have them share with James at Intellectus Statistics. Can you confirm which one you're logged in as?
Yes. But I can log into anyone you want.
One that we give everybody prior is James at Intellectus Statistics, so they may have already
No
shared.
problem. No problem. Got it. My apologies if I gave the wrong one. All right. So, okay, so that's great. And then maybe some folks here are have data that we can look at. So let me just talk about a few other functions here. So we talked about uploading data at the project levels and sharing. We talked about management. To load a project first. We talked about data management. There's also different plots. This is not the best data set to be looking at. Hang on, sorry. Okay, so we also have plots, and there's 10 typical plots that are very easy to use. You can just select the plot, select the variables of interest. Notice the icon for scale up there. Okay. And then group it by, age group, for example. Okay. You notice that's ordinal and nominal. And then hit submit. And then you can kind of see, hey, gosh, here's GPA pre and GPA post for different age groups and what's happening. That is to say, they kind of look like they're, kind of different at pre-test and kind of getting closer together at post-test. So different types of plots to be had. And then we have different analyses, and it really runs the gamut from descriptive statistics, and I'll just look at that by clicking on descriptives, adding variables, okay? Hitting confirm and calculate. And what you get for descriptives is, an APA table that has the nominal and ordinal variables, okay? And then a quick write-up about that. And then for the scale variables, an APA table with helpful scrollovers and a little summary of that. Okay? And then we have lots of different types of tests, from correlations to t-tests, different regressions, chi-squares, and then other kinds of things like mediation and moderation and so forth. Okay. So, those are the big pieces of the tool. We also do have a decision tree to help you figure out what tests to run, data plans for different tests. Okay. So you can understand what the assumptions are. That's downloadable and editable. And then we have power analyses to figure out the sample size of different tests, which is downloadable and editable. And then a shameless plug for consulting sessions if you need it. Okay. So let's work with some folks' projects. So I think we have Nicole Weathers. We'll start with you. Okay, Nicole, can you raise your hand so we can
Yeah.
get to you? Did I get on here? Hang on, Nicole Weathers. Where are you here?
I have it.
There you are. Okay. Nicole, are you there?
Hang on.
Hi, Nicole.
Hello.
Hi, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. All right, I'm gonna load up your project, okay?
Okay. And I've already done some analysis, I guess. So I just wanted to make sure things were looking
Some analyses,
well. I had a lot of questions on my survey.
evidently. Question, did so are all of these things, and you did look at it on these things?
Yes.
Yeah. So, one question is, and they don't create one construct, they're all very unique constructs?
Well, there are three. So there's three kind of groups. So it looks at self-efficacy, belonging, and engagement.
Right.
And
So
so there's probably like 4 or 5 for each
Right.
of those.
So I would have created composite scores there.
Okay. Well, how do I do that?
I'm going to show you.
Okay.
Because what happens is it helps other people looking on, okay? So
Sure.
we're going to go to that variable calculator that we
Okay.
talked about. You have to get out your scoring sheets, okay? You have those kind of close at hand, or?
Maybe yes.
Okay. So I went to variable calculator and I'm gonna create a new variable called self-efficacy. Efficacy, okay. And then, there's a question about whether we're summing these things or averaging these things, but there's a first question first, which is, are any of the items reverse coded?
I don't believe so.
Okay, do you know what I mean by that question?
I do. That
Okay.
they're like asking a negative, but you're scoring it.
That's
Yeah.
right. So just for other people's edification, that if I'm looking at self-efficacy and I'm feeling, and I'm asking question number one, do I feel self-efficacious in the morning or at tennis? And do I feel self-efficacious, in the afternoon doing some other task? And do I not feel self-efficacious, at nighttime cooking dinner? Okay. So if you ask that question in reverse, as Nicole just stated, we want to flip that, okay? 5s to 1s, flip, okay? Flip the answers. So now when we sum them, all right, so does that all high numbers mean the same thing? In this case, high self-efficacy. So do we know that if we want to get a mean composite or a sum composite?
I don't know that.
Okay, so when we don't know that, what I like to do is to get a mean composite. What is the range of scores here from like 1 to 5?
Yes.
Okay, so the reason I like to average them is because I know what a 4 is. Okay, kind of like agree, right? Right, if you went from strongly disagree to neutral to agree, a 4 and 5 strongly agree. I know what a 4 is. But if I have 7 items and I'm like, it ranges from 5 to 35 and they have a 27, I'm like, I don't really understand that. So that's why if I don't have clear directions, I like to just average them. Okay, do you know which items go into self-efficacy?
I do.
Okay, can you tell me what those are?
So they're in, yes. So belonging, so the first like 1, 2, 3, 4, the first 4, well, so there, I take that back. I said there's like 3 of them, but they do break it down, because this is looking at like belonging. There are 3 belongings.
All right, let's just deal with one belonging
Okay, so the first
item.
4 items are,
Okay. Okay,
yep,
so
that,
those 4?
yep.
Okay, so let's just say, and this is called belonging of what now?
This would be university belonging.
Terrific. Okay, so university belonging, we have 4 items, we're gonna average them. And then what you'll see is that we created a score over here. Now, what is the research question regarding university belonging?
So this is measuring how much the student feels like they belong to the university.
Right. Is there a research question related to this variable?
No,
You
I
just
don't
want
know.
to know, do they feel like they belong or not?
Correct. So what we're looking at is matriculation of students. So students who get admitted, but then actually start. And so we're looking how by maybe improving belonging, that
Yeah.
would impact matriculation. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you have a matriculation score on this thing?
I do.
Okay. Where is that at?
Oh, it's not in here.
Okay. So you want to tie them together. So you can really, perhaps run a regression to say, hey, does belonging scores impact matriculation?
So that was one of my questions because so we did a pre and post, but we don't actually have those tied together. So
Yeah, you
while
want
the
to tie
survey
them
was
together.
provided, does that, sorry, go ahead.
You want to tie them together, but if you don't, you're going to do descriptive statistics. Here's the belonging in or matriculation before or after or whatever. So the extent that you can tie them all together to an individual, that's going to be helpful.
Okay. Well, we can't do that right now. So
That's fine, but future research though, you might be able to.
good. Yes, yes. That's good to,
Right.
it was definitely one of those things after the fact. It was like, oh, we should have done it that way.
We're all
Right.
learning.
That way.
That's fine. So one thing with university belonging that you can do, and by the way, just for everyone's knowledge, like don't be afraid of simple things. There's a lot of knowledge that comes out of simple things. For example, okay, we're talking about belonging from 1 to 5. If I go to that university belonging and I describe that, okay, I can see, you know what, from a strongly disagree, I I don't belong at all, or to a 5, I strongly agree. Hey, guess what? People feel like they belong here. All right.
So
4.27.
would there be a way? So in my data, I have the pre and the post surveys. So is there a way to compare like this mean pre and
Absolutely.
pre and
Yeah.
then
So
post?
so is this university belonging pre or post?
Well, it's both because they're both in there. So I have them grouped by, I think if you scroll,
Oh, okay. So you've already created those composite scores?
um,
No.
no, but the very first, I think if you keep going left, sorry,
You're good.
I gotta pull it up on my side. I was looking at something else. So I have like column B, like the baseline, and
Ah,
then post.
I see.
Does that
Okay,
make sense?
terrific.
I don't know if I did that right either.
Well, if they're not tied together and you don't know who this female is compared to this female, you did set it up correctly. All right. So you can run so let's utilize the decision tree here, okay? So I want to see if there are differences in university belonging pre to post, okay? Is that a fair question?
Yes, that would be perfect.
Okay, so I want to explore differences between groups. Great. Do I have more than one dependent variable? Nope, we're just talking about university belonging at the moment. Do we have any covariates? Nope, we're not saying anything else is related to it. Do we have more than one independent variable? Nope, we're only talking about pre-test or before and after, pre-test and post-test. Does the independent variable have more than 2 levels? Okay, everyone, quick thought experiment. What's the independent variable here? Is it the belonging score or is it the pre-post test? What is the researcher manipulating here? If you've answered that the researcher is manipulating the pre versus post, that is the independent variable, you would be correct. If the belonging scores were the dependent variable, dependent upon the student's ratings, you would be correct. So does your independent variable have more than 2 levels? No, it does not. We have pre-test and post-test. So we're conducting either an independent t-test or a Mann-Whitney. One's got assumptions, one doesn't. Let's just try this. This is the more generalizable one. So our dependent variable, okay, I'm going to put you on the spot, Nicole. What's the dependent variable?
My dependent variable, I think you said we're depending on pre or post.
Nope. It's the universe. The scores are
university
going to
belonging.
depend upon the student, okay?
Sure. Yep.
All right, so that's the dependent variable. Those belonging scores depend upon those students. The independent variable, the thing that you're manipulating,
Is
is
the
the time, okay?
Mhm.
By the way, you could have said pre, post, 6-month follow-up. You're dictating that. You're manipulating or controlling that, okay? So by time. So it's as simple as looking at the dependent variable belonging scores by independent variable time. And we hit calculate. Now, with some of these tests, there's assumptions built in, okay? So the good news is that the tool identifies the assumptions, normality, okay? It identifies the test used to assess normality, Shapiro will. It actually runs the test, okay? And it interprets the test, okay? So basically here, when this Shapiro look is significant, as it is here, that means it is unlikely to have produced a normal distribution, which at the end of the day means that it's violated. By the way, guys and gals, if this doesn't make sense to you, put it in ChatGPT and say, explain this to me as a high schooler, okay? So if you don't get it, so we tried to make it simple, but avail yourself to these tools that are out there. Another assumption is the Levine test, what? Homogeneity of variance, which basically assesses whether that standard deviation is similar to that standard deviation. It's darn exact. All right. So we can imagine that this is the name of the test that assesses homogeneity variance or similar variances or similar standard deviations. Okay. It runs the test. This is definitely not statistically significant. In fact, they're the same. And it means that that assumption is met. So we bang through assumptions. Secondly, we actually get to the darn result, okay? So here we can look at this APA table and say, hey, university belonging is increasing from 4.06, not so bad, to 4.42, better, but is it statistically better? Well, guess what? It's got to be 0.05 or less. by the way, some people would call this marginally significant. So it wasn't that God came down and said 0.05. Some people use 0.06. Some people use 0.10. But the standard is 0.05. We draw the line there, but frankly, it's an arbitrary line. So it is not statistically significant in this particular analysis. So, and it says here, it was not statistically significant. It reports it, okay? And then, and it basically is saying that university belonging was not different between baseline and post-test, okay? And you can see the APA table, the scroll over, and then a plot that kind of looks at it, okay? So, a lot of things have been exemplified here. So we've created a composite score. We figured out what test to use, okay? We've assessed the assumptions of the test. We looked at the write-up of the test, and we looked at the APA tables and bar plot. There's two other things I want to highlight, which is when one of those quantitative assumptions are violated, as it was here, okay, there's another test that does not have that assumption that assesses a similar thing. Are there differences on belonging by time? And here, also not statistically significant, but it could have been. It could have been. So it's worth looking at. And it evaluates things in terms of mean ranks and medians, but still no statistical difference. And despite this different looking box plot, okay? So in a pretty short order, you have a pretty good sense of, if there are differences between belonging at pre or baseline and post. And the answer is, you know what? They've improved, but not statistically so. But you're in the right direction, right? They didn't stay the same. They didn't go down, but they're in the right direction. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I think definitely doing I don't remember what you called it, but when you put like the four questions together, when you put the four questions together under one,
That's
I mean,
under
that's
the variable
definitely
calculator.
That's the variable calculator. Okay.
Right. You want to do that. Because the truth is, they're not four separate variables. These things go together, okay? And create a, belonging. By the way, two other pieces, and they're going to move on to somebody else. The one thing to look at is the reliability of these scores. So Cronbach Alpha says, hey, you know what? We made this thing called university belonging, okay? And we had these 4 items here, okay? And the question is, do they kind of hang together to create a composite score? And really, we should be looking at that before we do that. And so we just talk about what is good reliability or acceptable. You really want it to be 0.70 or higher. Here you have 0.87 indicating good reliability. So that would give you the green light to go ahead and create a composite score, okay? So because even though it's reliable in other people's studies, the question is, hey, gosh, from my particular study and my particular set of participants, are those scores reliable, okay? So, all right. The only last thing I'd say is that you can download your analyses here, okay? So just to know that. Exploratory factor analysis is good. Typically you want north of like 150 participants or so. So that's just to keep that heads up, okay?
Okay. Yeah, and I did that quite a while ago, so I don't.
Yeah, that's
fine.
fine.
Just
That's
messing
fine.
around.
No problem. No problem. Yeah, I'm not. I'm just saying, in generally speaking, those are kind of large sample analyses. So, I hope this was helpful.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Nice meeting you. Have a good rest of the week.
You too. Thanks.
Sure. All right. So the next one we'll have Jacqueline Bryce. We'll see if Jacqueline can raise her hand. I'm gonna go back here and find Jacqueline Bryce. All right. Hi, Jacqueline. How are you?
Hi,
Hey
I'm
there. How are
doing
you
okay.
today?
A little nervous. So this one, I just uploaded the most simplest portion of
Yeah.
mine because it's kind of the most important, I guess.
Yeah.
And I may need to separate it a little bit in order to actually get it analyzed. But my basic project was implementing different workflows to improve a completion of exams in a localized clinic.
Yeah.
And so this is basically like the quality reports. I still have a few couple months left for this project that I need to get from.
Yeah.
But I'm not exactly sure how best to put it. And also like I have the 2022 end of year and 2023 end of year. I wanted to incorporate that as well as kind of like a comparison for how it's changed.
Right. I mean, I think one thing to do is descriptively.
Hmm.
I think just
And I just uploaded it. I didn't change anything.
no,
So
it's fine. So
yeah.
if I just change it to nominal and I leave it
Hmm.
like this, I'm gonna make a new variable here. Because
Okay.
I think I need that as nominal to kind of just the completions is what's of interest. Just look
Yes.
at it graphically.
Yeah.
And I think this will help us here. I could be wrong. Number of completions. Let's see what that looks like. It was with the other variable. That doesn't get me there. Okay. Um, maybe putting, well, you do have this. I'll do like that. December. Oh, wait a second.
You
So
know what I
what's
mean?
going on here? So I would put those, I would have put those in order. Unless you want to compare December to December. I would think you want to go December 22, whatever you have here. Put them in chronological order.
Okay. I,
I
I
think,
think
yeah.
they are.
Are they December 22, December 23? Okay, May
And then
24, June 24, July 24. Okay, hunky dory.
yeah, so because so June was when the processes were implemented. So May was just the month before. June was when they just started, and then every month since.
Right. My guess is that that's not going to be a statistical difference, the 2 points.
Hmm.
Um, Number of completions. Uh, Certainly some charts that I'm not getting to in my brain right now is
That's
going to
okay.
show that increase.
Yeah.
Um, um, so that's one thing. I guess I guess a question I would have if I were you is is there a statistical increase from 22 to say this one, okay?
Yeah, and that's kind of like what I was
After?
yeah, well, because I'm still finishing, because obviously I don't have December's yet. This is
Yeah.
but I've
I mean,
had
I'm
a different each month in between from when it started.
right.
So
Yeah, I think I might want to just compare the end to end. It's like
yeah.
52.3 compared to 62.7 is that statistical difference. And
Hmm.
then the question is, I think they're gonna want to know the sample size in these things. So
And so that is the yeah.
155. Okay, so wait a second. So number of patients and number of completions. Hmm.
Well, because he would get new patients.
And how many completed, right?
Yep.
Is it kind of a rolling average though?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, because what I was going to do is, um, what I was going to do is look at the difference of the is the throughput different from here to here?
Hmm.
Um, so if I looked at, this is, okay, so, I mean, one quick thing is just for the heck of it. If I had let's just say throughput. I just really just took number of patients, minus the number of completions. Number of completions. Okay. So, I'd want to mess around with this data as I am now. I mean, at some level, the number of throughputs is going down. Okay. I mean, you do have an increased number of patients. So if I had 1,000 patients, so I expect to have them completed. So there are more completions and there are more, but this is just another metric I might be looking at.
Mhm.
So to get back to your question, about, percent metrics, percent complete. Okay. Well, actually, you are tying them together, aren't you?
Mhm.
This is a test of proportions. Is the test, and then 155, 61. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this test. It is a test of proportions. So two tests of proportions. Proportion one. Proportion name. Okay, so let's just call whatever. What was the date of these things? Sorry. Hang on. We might be able to do this.
Okay.
So this was December 22, and this was in October 24. So let's just see what happens here. So analysis, proportion test, two sample proportion one. Let's just call this December 22. Okay, sample size is 155. And then the proportion of throughput is, as I'm gonna say, 0.523. I think this will work. The second one is October 24. I think the sample size is 161. And I think the proportion put through is 0.6627.
Yeah,
And the
0.627.
and the proportion names must be, what am I doing here? All right. So what I want to do is compare that proportion to that proportion to see if there's a statistical difference. You'll go through assumptions and close but no cigar, just like last one, okay?
Okay, but I still have 2 months left, so
Right.
I could beat there. So I'm
Right.
at 0.6 about right now. Okay.
Okay, so but that's giving you the N,
Okay.
okay? The proportions, those should be equal to your completed, okay? So you're right there. So two things. So one is, this is how you would do it,
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
okay? And this is being recorded. The
Yes.
other thing is, everybody, I don't know how many folks are on here. Everybody, calm down if you don't get significance.
Mhm.
You can still say,
It's clinically significant or something.
well, one is clinically significant, but the other one is just you're in the right direction. You can increase your sample size, or you can do lots of different things. And that, are you a grad student?
Sorry. Yes. Nurse
No,
practitioner.
yeah. Okay, so your people's graduation, this is for everybody. Your graduation is not dependent upon significance. And the quick story, I'm sitting in a room and there was someone applying for a job, and the interviewee made the joke, and she said, everybody found significance in their dissertations except for me. And you know what? She got that darn job. So, I think it's how you position yourself and present yourself is going to go a long way. And the significance level is not the end all. Tell the truth, say what it is, because if you knew there was going to be differences, you wouldn't have to do the study, correct?
Exactly.
All right. So just let the cards fall where they are. And I know it's challenging because you want significance, and some R1 institutions want to say, like, massage your data till you find significance. Okay, do whatever they tell you to do. But at the end of the day, I think for the game that we're in, do a good study, report the findings, talk about why didn't almost met significance but didn't, and just move along. Okay.
So should I focus on, because I have 2022, 2023, and then I'll have 2024. Should I focus on, say, 2023 and 2024 comparatively? I mean, I guess technically that would.
You can do that. I mean, you can, how you phrase your question. I mean, I want the most extreme case, because if there's nothing happening with the extreme cases, it's going to be unlikely it's happening at close cases. So I would go here all the way to here, okay? Or all the
Okay.
way to here is my quick answer. But a research question could be, I mean, I think you said June was the cutoff here.
June was the month in which
Right.
implementations started.
Right. So you'd want, you could average the befores and average the afters, but I would say much before, or I don't, again, there's lots of ways of phrasing your research question. And I would, but I think to find something, I'd want the most extreme things before any thought of intervention was in our brain to we've been using this intervention for 5 years.
All right.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you very
I
much.
hope this was up. You're very welcome. All right, so let's see if we could do one more. All right, Mohammed. By the way, feel free. I guess we should leave some time. Maybe put into the you can contact us for consulting, or reach over here for consulting, or put in our phone number. Take it from there. Hey, Malik, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good. Let me look at your data set here. Where
Sure.
are we? Don't let me pass you. Okay. Did you share a data set? Did I just pass it over?
You're scrolling it too fast. I cannot see it.
Sorry. Let me start from the top. Right here.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the one. Yeah.
For gosh sake.
Okay. This project, Jim, I have already done in the GMOE. I just want to check the power of the intellectus statistics. This is basically the effect of classical music. This is a psychology project on the second language learning group. So this is a very basic data, and I just want to see that how we can do the analysis in this software of yours, actually.
So the research question is what exactly?
The research question is that listening to basically this is a psychology question where the respondents were made to hear a Chopin, symphony for.
So this female listened to both Chopin and Beethoven.
Yeah, first she listened to the Chopin, then she did an exercise in which there were blocks, and she had to select the correct answer within 5 seconds. There was no wrong and right answers, and then they listened to the Beethovens, which are an aggressive symphony, and then this is the second language experience group, that is a 1 or 0, and this is their demographical information of
What
age
is it?
and
What is this 1 and 0? Which group is this?
second language question, actually. They're the second language learners, actually.
Okay, so a 1 is a second language learner?
I mean, I speak Urdu, and I'm studying somewhere in English as like this.
All right, so I think this is a nominal variable.
Yeah, I just didn't set it over. Yeah, I was listening to you and
That's
looking at
fine.
my.
So and a 0 is what, native language or what?
No, this is yeah. They were not dual speakers, basically. They were monolinguals.
Okay, so I'm
Zero means
sorry. So
they were
a 0,
monolinguals.
what's the name of this group? A 0?
Monolinguals.
Monolingual, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, mono. Okay, and then these guys are duolingual?
This is the bilinguals. Yeah.
Bilingual, excuse me. Okay, I'm gonna put that in the same variable.
Yeah.
So is the question, are there differences on the scores of Chopin or Beethoven or both by whether you're bilingual or monolingual?
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. So so it's gonna be the same test we just ran. Or so, okay, which is independent.
Actually, if you, Jim, sorry to cut you out. If you can go to the ANOVA, because I ran ANOVA on this one, so I would see that what the intellectus gives it to me.
I'm gonna run it right now.
Yeah, two pair ANOVA.
Two tab,
ANOVA.
right.
ANOVA basically.
Oh, are you an
Not,
ANOVA?
yeah, ANOVA.
That's fine, no problem. So just so folks know, the ANOVA can look at the scores on a variable by an independent variable with two or more, okay?
Yeah,
Here we only
yeah,
happen to have two, but you
yeah,
can, ANOVA can be, monolingual, bilingual, trilingual.
yeah.
Okay. So just to compare, so we have assumptions, blah, blah, blah. And here,
Wow.
there was no statistical differences.
Yeah,
That's going to be 0.05 or less. And you can see that the
exactly.
scores are not too different from each other, particularly
Yes.
relative to their standard deviation. So let's
Deviation.
just look at the Beethoven, but I would
Yeah.
suspect that they're similar. Who knows? So I'm going too fast because I'm trying to exemplify this. So I'm going to ANOVA for everyone. Okay. And then I'm putting in the dependent variable, which is, I want to see the differences. The Beethoven scores depend upon the participants by the independent variable, which Malik, the researcher, has dictated, which is I want to compare monolingual from bilingual. Okay. And then calculate. So here,
We will be getting the
so here there are
yes.
statistical differences.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out why. And when we listen to Chopin, that and this might be exactly what you wanted to see or not. I'm not
This
sure.
is totally, I mean, I'm blind blown. It took me 2 days on Jamovi actually to do all this, what you did in like less than 30 seconds, I think so. And
That's
these
the story of
tools
my
that I
life.
got
I
to,
can do things very quickly here. I mean,
yeah.
the tool is right, but I'm also at it for 30 years. So
Oh, that's
there's something to be said there.
that's
By the way, I'll put a shameless plug out. When I do consulting, you'll be working with me most of the time within Lectus, and we can do stuff that does take days or weeks to do. We can kind of bang out in an hour. So,
perfect.
but you can see that there are differences there, and which is what. So the monolingual had higher Beethoven ratings or scores, or on the task compared to bilinguals.
Just one last thing I'd like to ask, if you can scroll up a bit on the plot, how do we set the confidence interval over here to the 95%? Can we change it over here?
I think it's at the 95%.
Yeah, this is the 95%, I know, but can we change it in this software as well?
To what?
To like 90% or maybe 85%, because on the other we have
You
this.
might be able to do it under bar plot here. And you may want to, uh, um,
I think it should be in the ANOVA or somewhere because that is where it starts over there.
I'm not sure.
No problem.
Yeah,
I'll take a look.
my quick answer is going to be no, but there might be some way, but I'm sorry.
No problem. No
Yeah.
worries.
All right. Well,
Thank you
terrific.
so
Well,
much.
good luck with you with this. I hope this was helpful.
Very nice. Thank you very much. So nice of you.
You're very welcome. So I think I'm going to wrap up. If there's questions that we have, bring them on. Sure Melissa or Ashley will, put our contact information in. Certainly, we can help you with your analyses. That's one thing. Certainly, if you're a faculty and you're doing your own research, that help will be for free. And we want you to kind of share it with your colleagues, share it with your committees, share it with with other folks in your university. Most people are struggling with SPSS or Excel or something of this sort, and hopefully, what I've demonstrated in the past, at least 45 minutes, is that you can really get to some results in a fast and rigorous way. Where's the contact information? I think it's going to be coming in the chat, correct?
Yes, we'll put it in the chat and it'll be in the email follow-up with the recording.
Yeah. Does the consultant have a fee? Yeah, typically for a product, it's like, under $1,000. So somewhere in there. If it's complicated, it can be more, but typically, and we bang it out in an hour. And you'll do like what we're doing here, Zoom and see what's happening. So you can just contact, Ashley or Samantha or Melissa, maybe put our phone number in there and hopefully we have our, let me see if I
Yeah,
have.
it'll be all in the email follow-up.
Oh,
so,
perfect.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right. Other questions, to put into the Q&A? I hope this was valuable for folks. I mean, I know I go quickly, this is being recorded, but just to let you know that you can, upload your data. You can find out what kind of tests to conduct. You can run that. You can get output in plain English. You can download all of this to to an APA style Word document. Let's get here. Here are the results. You can edit all of this. By the way, a lot of this is templatized. So this phrase is published with Turnitin. Okay. So you want to put that in your own voice. Okay. But you can use you can obviously use the results of the tests. You can use the plots, are unique. You can use the tables and figures. Okay, so that's all, but then just put it in your own voice. The other things in the output are the APA style references. Let me make this bigger, sorry. APA style references are in there. And then there's a glossary of terms and symbols. Okay. And then some raw output. The other quick things I want to highlight just very quickly is that we have a qualitative tool that has the DNA of simplicity and rigor, uses a lot of AI, and is also courseware that, excuse me, clicked on the wrong button here. There's courseware, like 60 lessons for the quant tool, and there's 20 lessons in the qual tool. So just know you have quantitative tools, qualitative tools, courseware, training, and consulting, and Lit Review app coming soon. So stay tuned. So hopefully that helps everybody, and I want to thank you all for your attention and hanging in there with me. Okay.
And if
And
we
with that, I'll
didn't get
wish-
to your questions today, or if we didn't get to your shared projects, we'll put a link in where you can schedule a time, okay?
Perfect. Thank you all so much. Thank you, staff, everyone, for helping answer this and moving us through this. And I wish you all a great rest of the week. So thank you all.